When I was 16, I already knew that I was different. I could no longer handle my life with my family, with my parents. I wanted to live as far away as possible. When I was 18, I was already living as a chess trainer. I really wanted to transition already back then, but at that time it felt impossible to continue playing chess and living as a chess trainer while transitioning. Trans people nowadays, it's not easy for us, but back then it was much harder. I was really depressed. I was also struggling with alcohol. I had the darkest thoughts. It wasn't really living, it was just trying to survive day by day, and happiness felt impossible. These were the darkest years of my life. Even though I met incredible people, a real blow came out of nowhere in 2023 when FIDE, the International Chess Federation, published a partial ban against trans women in chess. I could see why in other more physical sports trans people's participation could be an issue. I'm in favor of inclusivity, of course, but I could understand the debate and so on. But in chess, it really surprised me. But then I remember that this is also a really important political issue. I didn't feel like continuing doing this. I was scared to transition while still working. Harassment online. For myself, I can mainly handle it. I'm now used to receiving hundreds, if not thousands, of insults and threats and so on every time I won anything. When I became the first trans woman international master, I always received hundreds of messages, and sometimes it's even overwhelming. Like, how many people in the world spend some time just to insult me? Like, I'm just a chess player. Nowadays, since my transition, happiness is finally possible. The pressure was finally off, and the dream was finally true. I was very happy, but also at the same time, I felt a bit of melancholy when thinking about all the journey and all the past struggles to get to this point.
Hello everyone, welcome to TY Sports. I'm Jyotirmoy Haldar, and today I have an incredible guest on the show, French women's chess champion Yosha Iglesias. Welcome to the show, Yosha. For our viewers, Yosha is the first transgender national champion in France and second worldwide. She is also the first transgender to become Women's International Masters, WIM. What an amazing journey it has been for Yosha. I was reading somewhere that you got a bit emotional at the end of the match.
My last opponent in the final, Mitra Ejazipur, who won the title in 2023. After she resigned, I got emotional, yeah, and I let few tears fall. While Mitra was very sportively congratulating me and even smiling to me, the pressure was finally off and the dream was finally true. A very intense moment for me. It was a mix of emotions. First of all, of course, pure joy and pure happiness. Like, it was a dream which seemed too big to even be a real dream. Like, of course, I knew I had some chances, but I was rated number 7 in the ranking, so like not a favorite by far. So of course I was very happy, but also at the same time I felt a bit of melancholy when thinking about all the journey and all the past struggles to get to this point. Nowadays, since my transition, happiness is finally possible, but Even in the happiest moments, there's still a bit of melancholy thinking of the past suffering. I'm still very, very joyful and just happy and also a bit proud because I did everything I could to have the best chances, and I worked quite hard the last months before the tournament, and it paid off. And this feeling of the training paying off is incredible. Yeah.
If we take you back to, your childhood, how did you get interested or maybe stumble upon on chess? How was the story for you? Like, where was the
Yeah, so
beginning?
basically, I have an older brother, Yanis, who started to play chess in a club. He was good. He was really good. He started to win trophies, to bring home trophies and medals and other shiny things. And I was like, okay, I'm a bit envious. And I think I want that too for me. And the next year, I asked to the same club and I started to play. At the beginning, my brother was better than me. Better not only because he was older, but simply he was a better player. But he quit chess to go to the university, and I didn't. So I never quit. So now I'm stronger than him, but I think he's more talented player, and also he has much more fighting spirit than I do.
If we talk about the journey since picking up the sport of 64 square, how has it been for you, like journey wise? Because I know it must be very difficult for you to get into the scene and push through everything that you may have faced. Where did the difficulties lie, and how did you overcome them?
I think one key year in my love with the game was when I was 16. When I was 16, I already knew that I was, let's say, different, and I could no longer handle my life with my family, with my parents in France and so on. So I wanted to live as far away as possible. And because back then we were talking about 2004, back then Russia was the biggest country for chess. Nowadays it is India, of course, but back then it was still Russia. I left my family to live with her host family in Russia, in the south of Russia. And then, like, I went to the club and it was just amazing. I had this old international master Soviet style player who played against the biggest legends in the world, like Mikhail Tal and so on. I met former world champion Boris Spassky, and it was just, yeah, for me as a young player, it was just amazing. Like, but of course, for other reasons, Russia was not the country for me, and after 1 year, I left Russia and went back to France. And then I started to live as a chess coach. So when I was 18, I was already living as a chess trainer, and I really wanted to transition already back then, but at that time it felt impossible to continue playing chess and living as a chess trainer while transitioning. The world was, I mean, trans people nowadays, it's not easy for us, but back then it was much, much harder. So I was too afraid to transition back then, and I tried to live as as a man, but I just could not, and I was really depressed. I was also struggling with alcohol. I had the darkest thoughts. It wasn't really living; it was just trying to survive day by day, and happiness felt impossible. These were the darkest years of my life. Even though I met incredible people, all my best friends are female chess players. Some of them still professional, some of them former professional, but I'm very lucky to have met them, and since the beginning they support me, and their love and their friendship is just the most precious thing that I have. Thanks to them, I managed to live through these dark years, but my real life really started when I finally accepted who I already was and started my transition. So it was 5 years ago. Of course, it felt amazing to be finally seen and accepted as a woman, but in the chess world, I had still a few struggles to fight, and I'm still fighting them, of course. So first of all, I had to be accepted by the French Federation to be accepted as a woman, which took me some times, but okay. Finally, they accepted me, and a real blow came out of nowhere in 2023 when FIDE, the International Chess Federation, published a partial ban against trans women in chess. I was surprised because, like, I could see why in other more physical sports trans people's participation could be an issue. I'm in favor of inclusivity, of course, but I could understand the debate and so on. But in chess, it really surprised me. But then I remember that this is also a really important political issue in Russia, but also in Western countries, like in the USA, of course, in England. And I think it is mainly a political decision, which is not based in science at all and not based in evidence. For me, it's also really sexist and misogynist to claim that I could have like a biological advantage over other women players. It feels like insulting to every woman. But yeah, here we are. Now the French Federation really backs me up, me and other trans people. So at least in France and most of Europe, I'm playing chess like any other woman. Like during the World French Championship, I never felt like a lesser woman or whatever. Like I felt like any other woman. For these 10 days, I just forgot my trans identity. I was just a woman playing chess with other women, and everyone was supportive or just behaved like I was any other woman. So this is amazing, and I know how lucky I am to play this sport, which can be really inclusive, at least for the players. And my issue nowadays, of course, there is an issue with FIDE, but it's also harassment online. For myself, I can mainly handle it. I'm now used to receiving hundreds, if not thousands, of insults and threats and so on. Sometimes it hurts me when I'm already having a bad day and for some reason I'm like feeling weak or whatever, and it can still hurt. But also, for me, the main problem is that some young trans people can see this and it could hurt them. So it's not, I'm not the only target. So this is why this is still hurtful sometimes, but what to do? This is beyond anything I can. So
And also for our viewers, Yosha runs a very in detailed chess channel on YouTube. Yosha, please tell us about your YouTube journey so far. How did that inspiration get into your mind that I have to start a YouTube channel, and how has been the journey so far with YouTube and on social media, being in public?
before my transition, I was working mainly as a chess coach and mainly in clubs and in schools. And I didn't feel like continuing doing this. I was scared to transition while still working with children, not because of children. Children always accept whoever they see. If you tell them, okay, now I'm a woman and you can use a she, her, and so on, they will do it gladly. But the parents are, are often the problem. And I was too scared to continue working in clubs and in schools. So I focused on private lessons. At the beginning, I had a few students which were really inclined to take many hours, especially with a former poker professional player, and I was giving him and another poker player many hours, so it was good. And it felt too early also for me to start YouTube. It was always something that I had in mind, but I wanted to present as myself and to have my feminine voice, to have my feminine face and so on. I waited a bit, but at some point also money became an issue. So I had to start a bit earlier that I had wanted to. But when I started, it was on YouTube. It was mostly fine because like people who don't like trans people just don't watch me. So sometimes now, sometime when I really seldom mention that I am trans because I just talk about chess. Just sometimes like in passing, I just mention it, and sometimes people are surprised, like, okay, I didn't know, but I don't care or whatever. So on YouTube, it's not an issue. But then I was really active on X slash Twitter. This is where I got mostly harassed. Like every time I won anything, when I became the first trans woman international master, when I won anything, I always received hundreds of messages, and sometimes it's even overwhelming. Like how many people in the world uh, uh, can spend some time just to insult me? Like I'm just a chess player, and it's crazy to think that thousands of people can take some time of the day to just insult me. So a few months ago, almost a year ago, I quit Twitter,
Hmm.
and I just made one tweet comeback. Yeah, I wanted to thank all the people who insulted me along the years because I think it forged my mental strength, which I
Hmm.
lacked. Like before my transition, I didn't consider myself as a fighter or whatever, but I had to learn this fighting spirit. And I think my best coaches were all these thousands of people who insulted me along the years. It forged my resistance, and then having an opponent sitting in front of you doesn't feel scary anymore. So of course it was a bit I don't know how to play playful maybe to thank them, but also I think it's true. Like without them, maybe I would not be that a fighter nowadays. So
You also talked about the financial difficulties that you had. So, in India, maybe, or maybe somewhere in the world, someone might be watching you and thinking the same about the financial difficulties that they may have been going through. So, how to overcome the financial difficulties that trans people face? Like, what was the case for you? Like, do you have any suggestions or advice for them?
it really depends on the country. In France, part of the transition is government paid. So we are very lucky, but still, like I've already paid, I don't know, maybe 20,000, maybe more. Like it's even in France, even with government help. transitioning is expensive, and this is also why when I was young, when I was like 18, 19, it felt impossible because I was like earning maybe 1,000 euros per month and already struggling to live with that. So when I knew back then, people said it cost 50,000 euros because the government was less helping. So it is expensive. It is expensive. And this is why also all the people who say, okay, but she transitioned just to win women's prizes. I'm like, no, but it's still much more expensive to transition than to play chess and to win some women prizes. Like chess players are not rich at all. Also, one of the main thing is to rely on to other people. For me, I found two, let's say, chosen families. My first one is the chess players, and especially the female chess players. And the other one are trans people, are queer people in general, LGBTQ plus people in general. And like my closest ones are both, yeah, both LGBTQ and chess players. So thanks to their help, I could also transition. And I wanted to also thank once again everyone in the chess world who helped me for my facial feminization surgery. It was a cost, I think, of 5,000 euros, and at that point, I was basically broke, and I reached a point where I could no longer live without this surgery. So urgent, and I could no longer delay, and I was like, okay, I will do anything that I can to have this surgery as soon as possible. And at some point, I created a GoFundMe, this thing where people can give you money. And I was still very active on Twitter, on chess Twitter, and I just posted and like, hey, I'm really sorry to ask. I feel a bit ashamed to ask for money, but I need this surgery. And like in 3 days, chess players all over the world gave me this 5,000 euros, and I got the surgery.
But if we talk about your mental fortitude, also with the help of these people, you also need something coming from your inside that I have to do this. Uh, how did you overcome all the difficult parts? How was your mentality back then?
A bit of spirituality. I feel very close to Buddhism, and I don't consider myself as a Buddhist because everything which is too religious makes me a bit uncomfortable. But I've read many books, and I've met also Buddhist teachers and so on. And on a daily basis, I meditate and I do yoga, and this was really helpful.
What do you do other than playing chess? If you have any hobbies?
I read quite a lot on a daily basis. I try to read at least 1 hour, especially nonfiction. I love everything which novels not so much, but everything else I enjoy reading. I go to the movies, and I have the best friends in the world, so I try to see them. But yeah, chess is really the biggest part of my life.
Did you learn the theories and all from the books, or was there someone who helped you during these preparation phases?
No, when I was young, it was all about books, and I never had a personal trainer. So when I was in Russia, I saw this club trainer, but with other kids. I can be a lonely person. I mean, I don't feel lonely. I feel just great, but being by myself. But I like learning alone. But of course, it's not really alone because you don't reinvent everything. You just learn from. So before it was from books, like I had, I don't know, maybe 300, I don't know, but many chess books. And nowadays it's many videos, many courses, everything online. It's possible to access knowledge that seemed like a dream even for the best players in the world like a few years ago. It's incredible. Now, if you don't have financial issues, as we said, you can buy incredible knowledge, and after that you have still to learn it. Things like in the middle of the 20th century, basically, if you didn't speak Russian, you could not learn after a certain level, yeah. And if you were not living in Soviet Union, it was really difficult to become a grandmaster, like almost impossible. You had to be so talented. But now even a kid can access more chess knowledge.
What are some of the most valuable things that chess might have, taught you?
Two things. The first one is to focus on what is present in front of you. Like every time you see your mind wandering, thinking about anything, maybe winning the game, or maybe the title, or maybe just what you will eat later tonight. You have to see that, to spot that your mind wandered, and okay, now I will refocus back on the board. And this is useful for any activity. Like if you want to enjoy any activity and to be the best at anything that you do, cooking or whatever, you have to be really there. And chess is a good teacher for this. And also, for me, like maybe the biggest lesson of my journey is it's not a lonely game. Any success relies on so many people. Like along the way, I was so lucky to have met so many important people in my life, like my brother, who gave me the motivation to start playing chess. But then my first trainers, and especially in Russia, who gave me the motivation to become a trainer myself, and then all my best friends, but also to thank the French Federation for everything they do. France is a fantastic country for chess, so many tournaments, and so on. My club president, who accepted me when I transitioned and gave me the opportunity to play in one of the best club, if not the best club in France. So I'm thankful for so many people all around the world. Any trainer who gives their best to teach chess, and when I can buy a course, an amazing course, I feel so thankful and so on. So I think everyone is connected, and chess really show us that. Yeah, this is why I'm so thankful for all the people who let me become French champion.
You talked about your brother, like all your friends as well. So how did your parents take the whole thing?
I was never really close with my parents. This is probably why when I was 16, I left them to live with a host family.
Hmm.
But then when I became an adult, I was not like in a bad relationship. Just it was mostly non-existent. Like when we saw each other like 2 times a year, maybe it was fine, but still difficult. And when I came out to them as a trans woman, it was really difficult for them to accept me at the beginning. It took them a couple of years, and but nowadays they see that I'm happy as ever, like, and they never seen me as happy as I am today. I will go to visit them tomorrow to offer them the trophy that I won. In France, it's not a cup. It's a vase de Sèvres. It's called. It's a vase in, I don't know, some very precious material, which which is given by the president of the republic, and so it's really a honor and a really precious trophy. and so tomorrow I will visit my parents to give them. So now it's fine. I'm 37 now, so it took them some years, but finally they're proud, and I'm really happy because they're no longer young. So it's good that at this point in our lives we can have a good relationship and accept and love each other as we really are.
What would be your plan going forward? Like there must be in your mind that I have to get that IM title because that is the next goal. So what is the thinking right now?
I will play a tournament in Spain in 2 weeks, more or less. A really strong open tournament, so trying to score norms, women grandmaster, international master. But we'll see. Just trying to play and to enjoy as always. And then in October, I will have a third surgery uh, regarding my transition, and this one will be quite heavy. And after this, I will probably stop playing chess for a few months, and then we will see. When I will come back after this, it will be spring already. So we'll see. But I definitely I'm as motivated as ever to train and to give my time and my energy to this fantastic game that I really love. So my pick, my personal best rating in the upcoming FIDE list, and I try to get even higher in the following years, even though I'm not that young anymore.
You must be knowing Rani Hamid. She is like 82 years old. She came to New Delhi just a few months back to play a tournament. So age is just a number, as they say. If I have to be a bit specific about the transition, how much time does it take to complete the transition? If you could just say.
For me, I will consider my transition like completed after 5 years. So like for me, it's almost completed, as you can say. But for some people, like they say that it's never over, and for some people, like they can feel because a transition is completed when you feel like you don't have to move forward anymore. Yeah, and for some people, they reach this point of comfort very early. For me, I had a very high ambition. Maybe I don't know. Maybe ambition is not the wrong word, but I knew that I felt really uncomfortable with who I was back then, and I had to work. And it's like a training actually. You have to spend time. In the first month, it's like on a daily basis. You only think about transition. All that you do, all that you think of is transition. And nowadays, on a daily basis, I no longer think that I am trans. I tend to forget that I'm a trans woman, but still, we'll have this hopefully final surgery, and then just enjoy.
Thanks a lot, Yosha, for joining us today. Thanks a lot for watching and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks a lot.